Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Hey, Jen, just a heads up, the town website had this listed to start at 6 for some reason. The agenda said 6:30, but the website had us listed for 6, just if it comes up tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as it's later, not earlier, then we're fine.
Yeah, agreed.
And Nate cannot make it either, so it's just you and Alan Mike tonight.
At least we have quorum.
Yes.
Be a tight quorum, but we'll have quorum.
Hey, Al.
Hey, Al, how you doing?
Hi there, folks.
Al, I love your background photo.
Yeah, oops, something happened. I'm gonna have to go back, sorry.
We have a lot of continuances. You're muted.
Classic. Did 560 continue?
Yes.
Sorry,
That's okay.
the internet god got me.
We're waiting on Mike anyway. Jen, the next meeting is the 19th.
26th.
Ooh, look at us.
Yes. The 19th is Juneteenth, so that would be a holiday for us.
Of course.
Good, because I'm gonna be down at St. Martin's.
Ooh.
That sounds better than what I'm going to be doing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Just won't be in St. Martin's.
There's a nice hotel called La Samana. It's right on the ocean. It's a pretty nice place with good amenities.
I'll make a note. We haven't done a trip like that since we welcomed our daughter.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, how old is she now?
She's almost 2. She's 21 months.
Oh,
So
cool.
we could get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thought of flying with a baby
Right.
seemed unappealing.
Yeah, and it may be harmful to the extent of you don't know whether she has ear blockages or not. Yeah. So better to wait.
People do it all the time, though. People do it all the time, though. I just wasn't so brave.
Yes. It's not always the greatest thing for the other passengers either.
Other passengers appreciate
it. I'm pretty convinced I could keep her entertained for a 4-hour flight now. I'll probably eat those words.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Let me know when you're ready, because I have to press record again.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
All right, so calling the June 5th, 2023 meeting of the Conservation Commission to order. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards a quorum. Let's start with a roll call vote.
Benson, present.
Carol, present.
Spady, present.
All right, very good. We'll move to our first order of business. Request for determination of applicability at 370 Bay Road for the construction of a fence and a shed.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Excellent. For the record, representing the applicant, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer with Strong Point Engineering. I say that enough, you think I wouldn't trip over it anymore. I'll give a very brief presentation if I can share my screen real quick.
Please.
That should help get us all acclimated to what we've got going on here. Let's It's not letting me share. Try this.
It's just your Zoom screen.
Yeah, I'm having a little technical difficulty here for some reason. I don't know why.
I love the dogs. We can see
Yeah.
your screensaver.
They'll entertain us until we get this worked out. Here we go. We got a plan.
Nice. Okay. Yes.
Okay, great. So this is 370 Bay Road. My clients are the brand new homeowners. So they just bought this, and primarily what we want to do is put up a fence. You can see on the plan here where we have the red fence. It goes around in this existing stone area that's got a chicken coop. It's already disturbed. We cut it at the corner where the little stone area encroaches in the BBW. So we chamfered the fence there. Coming around the back of this, this is a partially constructed shed that was started by the previous homeowner. And then we just come around the limits of the proposed lawn and back around the edge of the lawn to the existing dwelling. We've also included, because this shed was built, I think it's just decking on a couple of wooden blocks at this point. It would be nice if we could leave it there and construct the shed, but I do concede that it is very close to the wetland and is within the 50-foot buffer zone. I am not sure that it was ever permitted. I don't believe it was. Jen's shaking her head, so I'm going to just side with her on that one. So certainly we can talk about the shed. We'd love to keep it. If we can't keep it, so be it. But a little bit of benefit for this one too is there is this patch over here, partially, definitely in the buffer zone, partially within the wetland, of existing yard debris. That was put there by the previous homeowner, but this homeowner has agreed to clean that up and get that out of there as a part of this. So short and simple, you know, looking for a fence. We all like fences, especially for this application. We like sheds. I don't know how much you guys like sheds, but we'll see. So that's all I've got.
Eric, can you tell me what's under the shed?
It's just a stone area right now. I think if you see here, this notation says existing stone. So I think the prior homeowner must have stoned in a portion of the yard. There's some concrete and a chicken coop here. The shed is not a foundation. It's not a concrete foundation. It's just on some boards out there. And it's just a platform at this point.
And it's on existing lawn, pre-existing lawn, before the shed was there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jennifer, any comments on this?
The only thing to add is that the FEMA flood map shows the property was in the floodplain, but they have a letter of map amendment that says that it is not in the floodplain. That's it.
Jennifer, would you mind just telling me a little bit more about what a letter of map amendment actually is?
Oh, sure. That means somebody gave them documentation that said the house is higher than the floodplain, and FEMA said, we only change our maps every 700 years, so we're not going to do anything but give you this letter of map amendment that says it's no longer in the floodplain.
All right, so essentially by a preponderance of the evidence, they're no longer in the floodplain.
Correct.
Members of the commission, any comments?
None to add for
Can
me.
you, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was saying none to add for me, so go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I just wondered, was that the case? Will any of the lines change? Either your green or your blue with the floodplain being altered?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
One quick question now that I'm thinking about it. Eric, can you clarify the stone? You're cutting out the little corner with the fence, but are you leaving the stone there or are you taking that out?
You know, we weren't proposing to do anything different, but I think it probably makes sense to take that stone out of there. So why don't we agree that beyond that corner of the fence, we'll take the stone out and reloam and seed that area?
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
But so I think the bigger question before us, I just want to make sure the commissioners have discussed it, is whether or not the shed stays. I think given the cleanup that they're doing in the fence, I don't have an issue with the shed being there. Does anybody feel otherwise?
No, I agree with it.
Okay. Any public comment on this project?
I don't see any hands raised.
Seeing none, Eric, I assume you'd like to close.
Yes, I would.
So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the request for determination of applicability at 370 Bay Road.
Benson second,
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
Jen, would you mind helping me with the RDA motion?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So.
I'll get it
the
eventually, I promise.
Wetland Protection Act decision is a +5 because the bylaw applies, and it's a -3 because it's only in the buffer zone. And then the bylaw decision is a -2. It's in an area subject to protection, but it won't alter it.
I'm going to be lazy and say so moved.
Absolutely.
Spady, a second.
All right, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you,
all
Eric.
very much. Appreciate it, guys and girls.
Take care.
Bye.
Calling the next order of business, 20 Howard Street, notice of intent for proposed upgrade of a residential septic system. Hi, Peter.
Everyone,
Hello.
how are you tonight?
Good, and yourself?
Good. The intro got cut off a little when you're switching me over to the panelist, but I don't think I missed much. So yeah, we're here tonight for a notice of intent for a repair of a failed septic system at 20 Howard Street. I will share the plan. And can we confirm that you can see that?
Yes.
We got it.
Awesome. So again, as mentioned, this is a repair of a failed residential septic system. Quick overview of the lot. To the north, we have a BVW, and further north, we have an offsite stream, mean high water line delineated, with the resource areas for that shown with the blue. The 50-foot buffer is shown in orange to the BVW, and the 100-foot buffer is shown by the purple lines. On this site, we are contending with a drinking water well located in the front of the property. Title V requirements are to maintain at least 100 feet to that. So what we've done is try to balance the proposed leaching area in the middle of the yard. We are able to keep all of the components outside of the 50-foot buffer, with the exception of the 5-foot over dig. So there will be no components within the 50-foot. However, there will be some temporary disturbance that will be returning back to a vegetated lawn condition. The proposal for this project is to install a 1,500-gallon septic tank and 1,000-gallon pump chamber off the back corner of the house to a elevated leaching field about 2 feet above existing grade. That's all happening in existing lawn. There'll be minimal pushback of the existing tree line, 5 to 10 feet, to accommodate the grading around the proposed leaching field. We show sedimentation control wrapping around this whole project, including the site access and stockpile areas at the end of the driveway. We have a dewatering location shown on the plan, just outside of the 50-foot buffer between the tanks and the field. We propose conservation posts along the northern tree line. It looks like we have 4 of them shown. A couple other little things here. There's some debris to the north of the proposed leaching field that are to be removed as a condition of this project. Let's see. That's basically the quick rundown. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, I'm sure it's on here. I'm just not seeing it at a glance. Where was the pre-existing septic system?
Right off the back of the house. So pretty much on and within the 50-foot buffers. So that's going to be just abandoned in place. It looks like we have a septic tank right off the concrete patio of the pool that will be pumped and filled, abandoned in place, and the leaching field will be just abandoned as it is.
And
with
is the
existing lawn.
water well in use?
I believe it is, yep. Yeah, we show the water line coming off the well into the house, so that is the primary source of water for the house.
We just don't see a ton of that in Easton. Just interesting to see. Jen, any comments?
Just a couple. Peter, this is the revised plan that you guys sent either Friday or today. Do you have the surveyor stamp on it?
Is there on this? Yes, there is.
Okay. All right. This is coincidentally is also one that shows up on the FEMA flood map, but they have a letter of map amendment removing the whole property from the flood map, so they're good with that. You talked about the amount of leaves that are actually in the drainage channel near the wetland flag 1, yeah, in that area. And you have a new post that's being put right in the path so that people don't continue, new buyers or whoever don't continue to use that path. A little confused by under the storage shed or south of the storage shed, there's a marker there too, but that looks like it's right in the middle of a giant compost pile. Is that, are you removing that compost too, or is that just in the wrong place?
Is this where you're looking here?
Yeah.
It looks like that was located there just to keep it basically at the 50-foot buffers. So that would be.
So if it's all wooded, would you just move it to the sediment control line?
Yeah, I agree that it should be moved 15, 20 feet to the west.
Okay.
Right behind the sediment control line makes sense. That will essentially be the limit of clearing for the proposed project. So it seems appropriate to put the posts at the new limit of clearing, which will be pretty much at the 50-foot buffer.
Okay. Those were all my comments. Thanks.
Any comments from the commission?
It's just one tree being removed, right, Peter?
I believe there's one larger tree, as mentioned and noted in the staff report. And then I can't really, typically if we're showing significant trees, we would indicate them on the plan. In this case, it looks like we just show the rough tree line. So it will be getting pushed back. Jen may have a better take on that.
It's a pretty large tree, so there's no way to adjust or shift it in any direction.
The septic, I mean.
Sorry, you can put your map up again if you need to. I can't see if anybody has a question if we're sharing the screen. So
okay.
I have to knock it down when we ask for questions.
Gotcha. So as mentioned, we are pretty well balanced between the 50-foot buffers. We did the test pits, within the limits of the system.
Okay.
So really not much wiggle room on this.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter.
Al, anything? Okay. Any members of the public have comments on this project? Peter, I assume you'd like to close.
Sorry, you do have a file number.
We have a file number.
Yes.
I assume you'd like to close.
Yes, we would.
Motion to close the public hearing on 20 Howard Street.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
All right. Motion to issue a permit for work and order of conditions for 20 Howard Street.
Benson, second.
Benson with the second. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Peter.
All right. And I had 2 certificate of compliance later in the night, but I believe both of those got continued.
Yes.
Okay. So that's all I have for you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, is 518 on?
They have requested a continuance to 6/26.
All right. Motion to continue 518 Washington Street to the June 26, 2023 meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Benson, second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Stady, aye.
Same for 560 Foundry.
Requested a continuance to 6/26. They'll also be making a change to the bridge. So they'll be bringing in an additional change at the same time.
Okay. Motion to continue the request for modifications for 560 Foundry Street to the June 26, 2023 meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Mike,
Stady, a second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Stady, aye.
How about 345 Center Street? Are they on tonight, Jen?
Yes, Frank is
Very
here.
good. Very good. All right, calling the next order of business of the Conservation Commission, 345 Center Street, request for certificate of compliance for Goodspeed Lane Lot 1.
There we go. We see you.
Good evening. Am I on right now?
Yes.
We can see you, we can hear you.
All right, excellent, excellent. This is for a partial certificate of compliance. The lot in question at 345 Center Street, lot number 1, always has been entirely outside of the Conservation Commission buffer zones. All work is completed on this lot, and we're requesting a partial certificate of compliance from the overall order of conditions to release this one lot that probably should not have been included in the first place.
Yeah, as part of the subdivision, it's included in the stormwater management, so that would be included in the order of condition.
Jen, any
and you
any
received the
comments?
staff report? That was sent 5/26.
I did read the staff report, but again, you were commenting about the foundation size of the home and a few things like that that did come out extremely close to the proposal. It's a little bit larger. The proposed impervious surfaces on this lot was for a dwelling that had 2,092 square feet with 2 parking areas, drive parking areas, for a total of 1,200 square feet for those, which gave us a total of 3,292 square feet of impervious surfaces. The dwelling that the contractor placed on the lot has a footprint of 2,789 square feet and 2 parking areas. One of them is 512 square feet, the other is 329. So basically we end up with 3,630 square feet of impervious areas, which is a little over 300 square feet over the limit that was initially proposed. And again, that's a little over 300 square feet over impervious surfaces that's outside of the buffer zone. So we did not feel that that would be a significant alteration. I think the comment was asking also for the top of foundation. That's shown on the plan. The top of foundation is 13506, indicated in the plan. Regarding the underground drainage infiltration areas, I was not a part of this project during construction at that stage. I have not seen it. I cannot testify one way or the other regarding that. Again, it's areas outside the buffer zones, but I cannot say whether it is or is not in from my own observations.
And the tree wells.
Well, there was a few stones, if you want to call it a tree well, there's a few stones around that larger tree that's right in the front of the home. I don't know if that was a concern or not, but again, it did support the earth around that general area so that the tree would survive. This project, if you're familiar with it, had a number of very large evergreens going down the left side of the road, and the contractor developer made every attempt to try to salvage those trees and save them. It does add great value to the homes. And he did place some stones around as a retaining wall on the south side of the large tree that's right in front of this home.
And it's not permanently stabilized yet.
I believe there's some areas in the front, shall we say, front left corner, which would be actually the northwest corner of the property. That's still a little bit rough. Hasn't been completely stabilized. Again, that is area that is graded down towards the paved roadway. It's graded away from any wetland areas. So it will, obviously that's in someone's front yard. Any grass that's not taken over yet certainly will be vegetated.
So when it rains, where does the sediment go?
Well, right now, I don't think there is much erosion from what I've seen out there.
But it would go into the road and into the catch basin and into the wetland.
I suppose it could erode off into the roadway, yes.
So
again,
it really should be permanently stabilized a little bit better. And then in the past, for the other houses on the subdivision road, if they've gone above the amount of square feet that was proposed, they've had to provide additional stormwater management. So do you have a proposal for that?
I do not have proposal on any other lot. This is the only lot that I'm associated with at this time.
And I'm sure there's a way to put in a stone line trench near one of the driveways or infiltration of the roof runoff somewhere.
Frank, is there any willingness to do a little bit more stormwater management on this site?
If the commission requested that a stone line trench be placed alongside the driveway, I feel very confident that the current owner would be willing to accommodate that. I'm not present with the owner at the moment. I'm kind of speaking for him, but I can imagine that they would be willing to go along with that.
So it sounds like we would need to continue this to the next meeting, and if they can get that in before then you could issue the partial.
Very well. We can request a continuance at this time.
Thank you, Frank. And Frank, it is helpful if you guys can do any kind of response to the staff report before the meeting. This way we can try to work these out before tonight's meeting. Just in the future, if you could take a look at that ahead of time, that'd be great.
Very good.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to continue 545 Center Street request for a certificate of compliance to the next meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Benson, second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, I.
ADI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
All right, calling our next order of business, 520 Foundry Street, request for certificate of compliance.
They requested a continuance to the 6/26 meeting.
Very good. Motion to continue the 520 Foundry Street request for certificate of compliance to the next meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Spady, second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, I.
ADI.
Calling our next order of business, 105 Washington Street, certificate of compliance.
Requested a continuance to the 6/26 meeting. We're gonna have a big meeting that night.
Very good. Motion to continue 105 Washington Street's request for a certificate of compliance to the next meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Benson, second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, I.
ADI.
How about 460 Turnpike? Are they here?
I'm not sure if they're here, but they do need a certificate of compliance. This is something that the commission had issued, but somewhere there's an original and it wasn't recorded. So they just need a duplicate.
Very good. So next order of business, 460 Turnpike Street. Jen, you're telling us this is something that's essentially all set.
Yep, it was already issued. They just
Yep.
need wet signatures so they can record it.
Something just wasn't recorded.
Correct.
So I'll do a motion to issue a duplicate certificate of service for 460 Turnpike Street.
Spady, a second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
All right, moving on to enforcement.
5 Johnson Drive. We did receive the restoration plan. It does look appropriate. I think a copy was in your packet.
Yep.
And they've got the timeframes all squared away. So it's probably appropriate to revise that enforcement order to reflect those dates. And so you're just saying, yep, continue with the restoration plan, start it before, June, July, and then provide annual reports for the next 2 years.
That tracks. Do we need a motion?
Yeah, it's probably better to do a motion.
So we're making, so I guess I am making a motion to start
Amend the enforcement order.
amend the enforcement order.
Yeah, to reflect the restoration plan timeframes.
Okay, thank you.
That'll work.
Motion to amend the enforcement order for 5 Jonathan Drive to reflect the amended timeframes.
Spady, second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
Okay, the other 2 violations are new and I've met with both of them, so they should be working toward restoration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no action from us there.
No, you don't need any action. Yeah.
So turn to board discussion.
Yeah.
What do we have?
We did get a request from a homeowner. Sorry, get the right paper. Asking if the commission was interested in purchasing a portion or some of their property. And I think did I put the map in your binder?
Yeah.
Where it looks like the majority of it is wetland and floodplain, and it's not clear where the property, which part is lot 1 and which part is lot 2. Typically something that's all wetland and floodplain, we would accept a donation, but I don't know if you've paid for that in the past. So.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been here, I think we have not paid for a parcel of land like this. I know we've had some discussions on that parcel by the high school. But I would say this is something that we'd be, just my opinion, I'm open to everyone's, but my thought is that this would be something that we would be interested in if it's being donated. But I'm not so sure there's much of a benefit in purchasing it from the perspective of the town.
No, I'll back that, Ben. That's insane. Since I've been here as well, I haven't really seen one that we purchased that has been like this. So yeah.
Before we accept it, can we find out what kind of impact that's going to have on the tax situation here?
If it's all wetland and floodplain, I don't imagine they're being taxed very much on that portion of it.
Is it difficult to ascertain what that would be?
No, that's usually, you can get it pretty close from the GIS and assessor's maps to tell you roughly the value the town has on the parcel. That being said, I don't know if the resident is listening or looking for a summary, but I mean, I think we'd be interested in a conversation about donating it. And I think that there are some benefits that can be ascertained from donating a parcel of land. Having that in the purview of the town, I mean, there are conservation benefits and protections in place. So it's a resource area. We're interested in protecting it, but I don't think we're interested in purchasing it.
I will pass that along.
Anybody review the meeting minutes from 5/22? I personally had no edits.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Okay, so we'll do a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the 5/22/23 meeting.
Wait a second.
Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
Chair updates. I have no updates. Environmental planner updates. Jen, you got anything?
I've got
Just
something
one.
from the, oops, sorry. Excuse
Just
me.
one, people mentioned or had said, yes, it's okay to change the October date. So thank you. So we'll make sure that's up on the website.
For me too, by the way.
Appreciate it. It's going to be awesome. And we will have our intern starting next week, Lauren Berardi. She's actually watching the meeting and lurking here.
Welcome.
So we welcome her, and we'll be finishing her paperwork this week so she could start next week.
Any fun projects she's starting in on?
Oh, it's all regulation. And we have an MSMCP that I'm the co-president of, or vice president of the Massachusetts Society of Municipal Conservation Professionals, which is
That's
a
a
mouthful,
mouthful.
and it's the Conservation Agents Group. Basically, you guys have MACC, the Conservation Commissioners. We have an agents group, and we do monthly brown bags. We have our annual meeting this Wednesday, so we invited Lauren, so hopefully she can make that. But
Great.
yeah, we're excited to have you join us, Lauren.
Yes.
That's my
Welcome
only
aboard.
update.
Any reasonable item not anticipated by the chair? Anybody on here?
Yeah, I have one point. This is a carryover from the last CPA meeting. Projects that are going to be requested in the next year, we have till the end of June to get a very, very short letter of interest into them. And really, it's nothing other than a placeholder. Isn't a lot of drafting. But I think if we need to, if the commission is interested in putting in something like for Tufts Farm or Wheaton Farm rehabilitation above outstanding grants, that type of thing, we should do that within the next month. So I don't know. I sent the outline of the letter of interest to Rory. I wasn't aware that he was not going to be here tonight, so I sent it to him after retyping it because they did it in a PDF form, so I couldn't chop it up and send it to you folks. So anyway, he has the outline, and but I think that's something that we've got to act on somewhat judiciously. I'm willing to try to help, but I will be gone for the part of the month of June from the 18th to the 25th. So I don't know what your folks are thinking.
Yeah, if
wanna
you have a
think about.
project in mind, let me know and I'll submit something.
Okay, is that how you'd like to do it? Great,
Sure.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the two that we ought to think about is what, and you're probably in the best position to know, Jennifer, but what is the status of the Tufts Farm? We may need to put in one for partial funding, on the house.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know what other items. Mike, do you have anything on the, open space that you'd want to?
I mean, Wheaton is a really good one to attack. I mean, that's definitely,
Yeah.
Or just, yeah, if you want to focus on one, Wheaton's a great one.
I would really agree with that, mostly because I am a little ashamed of my own knowledge of the actual status of Wheaton Farm at the moment. I gotta revisit
Farm
that.
itself or
forestry
the
plan.
barn?
Both, sort of both.
So
Well,
the
I think-
barn,
I think the barn.
we had it down to the last little bits of the contract, and the contractor would not provide the required insurance that the town requires. So we had to abandon that. And so now I've got to write the RFP and we have to go out to bid again and try to get somebody else to do the structural drawings. So we're sort of back at square one on that, but that is ongoing. Wheaton Farm for forestry. A little while ago, I talked to Phil Benjamin, and he said he was going to take a walk around and take another look at it. We weren't in time for the DCR grant for this year, but we'll be, mostly because the pines didn't have the cones on them for the appropriate time to cut them. And so maybe this year will be different and we can apply for the next round. So that's sort of the status on those two. We have the estimate for the signs, the new conservation signs. You allotted a maximum of 20,000 for the signs that we picked. It's 37,000. So I'm trying to figure out from them, which ones would be the priority. Well, that's from us, which ones would be the priority. And then I think I have a rough estimate for each sign. So I'll just pick as many as we can do up to the amount that you allotted. And that could be one of the CPA grants.
It's a good idea.
To finish the rest of the signs.
So we have 3 then, Tufts Farm, Wheaton Farm Barn, continuation. I think there's 204.
Well, Wheaton Farm Barn, you're not likely to get any more money until we spend the money that we all
Right,
have.
yeah, there's 200.
The problem is we don't have enough money to get anybody to bid on the project. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 there, but I'm trying to write the RFP so that somebody can bid on it.
So what? I don't know if I'm supposed to know this, so I apologize in advance. What do we have allocated for the renovation of that farm?
Wheaton Farm, I think, is 204,000. I'll double check that, but I believe that's the amount.
Yeah.
I think it was 190 continuation and a resourcement of 15 or 14. So it's about 204.
Okay.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, we can start with those. I have an AgCom meeting tomorrow. They can let me know if they have anything they want to do at the community garden.
Any other areas that we should start thinking about, Jennifer?
Lots. We just need the time to do it.
I'm sorry, what?
I can make you a massive list right now of stuff.
Isn't that the issue?
Well, that we're likely to get through the CPA.
I think if we got even just signs through, we win. That would be a great result.
Totally agree. Signs would be huge. Totally agree.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Anything else for the meeting?
So make a motion to adjourn.
Vincent second.
Roll call vote.
Vincent, aye.
Carol, I.
ADI.
Thank you, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
See you soon.